Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the workshop session of the City Council. And I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett.
Here.
Cook.
Here.
Hammett.
Here.
Odenettle.
Here.
Ruben DeSellis. Here. Scott.
Here.
Speed. Wonkel.
Here.
Watts.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Mayor Ezra.
Here.
City Attorney Beard.
Here.
Thank you. One item real quick, just to let the council know, at the next meeting, and our only meeting in December is December 13th. And at that meeting, before, we will need to schedule, let's see, Andy, in order to apply for the governor's DCEO grant noted above, we will need to hold a public information meeting prior to the next council meeting. This grant is to rebuild downtowns and main streets of Capital Grant. So this grant will apply to the improvements for South Main Street to the Town Brook and include the South Main Street Bridge, which is by Taco Gringo. We won't need a lot of time, but maybe a half hour for Adam to have a committee meeting. Can you? And I just wanted to announce that tonight. So we'll have a little previous meeting. So that meeting on December 13th, we'll have a pre-meeting talking about some of this. And with that, I will call on the city attorney's report.
Thank you. I've got the discussion of sale of real estate. If you recall, 2 meetings ago, we opened the bids for the sale of surplus property, which the city had, 3 different parcels. We received 1 bid for the property on South Main, next to the tavern. Grab that amount. Goose's. The amount of that bid was $500. So we have a resolution accepting that bid. They will be responsible for the title work, recording fees, and closing costs, and so forth. Second property was at 423 South Sandy. We received 1 bid on the city's bid form that was required. That bid was in the amount of $500 from an adjoining property owner, Randy Wright, who indicated he was looking to perhaps construct a shed for some work there, a storage shed, assuming zoning is correct. If not, you'll just have to use it as residential property. Another bid was received from an individual that did not meet the qualifications for the bidding and was not responsive. It was slightly higher, but not that much. Somewhere I've got that. For $1,180, and did not indicate any proposed use of the property. So from the fact that only 1 bid was submitted on the bidding form that we used by an adjoining property owner, we have a resolution prepared for accept that bid. The third one's going to give you a bit more to think about. Property at 922 North Clay. The city acquired this property through a tax purchase about 3 or 4 years ago. Skip, is that about right? Give or take. This property has been a problem property, so to speak, for the city going back to at least 2007, because that's the record that I've got as far as a property maintenance issue. It is an unusual property in the sense that the property that the city was able to purchase was a house, and behind that a fairly nice concrete block building. But the adjoining garage, which attaches to that house, was not part of the same tax sale. It had been purchased at a different time by a third party. That third party has submitted a bid of $500, Harold Hayes, that he intends to either fix up the property and rent it or demolish it. The second bid was received from Mark McFarland, who has been in ownership in one form or another of the property dating back to the 1990s to 2000. That is the owner that we've had a lot of property maintenance issues with. The property's been vacant going back to at least 2000 or so. At one point, if you recall, any of you that ever went down there at that time frame, the house was kind of wrapped in plastic because they'd started construction and didn't do anything further with it. One of the conditions of the bid for all of these properties is that if you owed any money to the city, you had to get that taken care of, in addition to whatever you were offering for the purchase of the property. Mr. McFarland submitted a bid of $7,500. He has debt to the city of about $4,100, which involves various fines, attorney's fees, other types of things for this property and other properties. He has been involved in a repayment agreement and has made payments on that from time to time, but has lapsed on payments from time to time. That $4,100 would also be paid as part of this transaction if you accept his bid. And then, through his attorney, he indicates that he proposes to immediately complete the exterior of the house, removing and replacing all plywood sheeting as necessary and high-quality siding, window trim and fascia, and then individual contractors to complete the building interior with a completion of approximately 24 months. While I haven't had direct discussions with Brian, certainly part of the requirement for this property, regardless of who purchases it, is that they'll have to work with the inspections department and make sure the construction is up to code, because this building has been empty for that number of years. So, that particular resolution, we have left open who you award the bid to, because that's a decision you're going to have to make at the council meeting. We can discuss any aspect of what I've mentioned here now, or we can wait and discuss that at council. As far as the fact that a sale to Mr. McFarland, while it does clean up, obviously it brings in much more money for the city in the form of $7,500, and it does clean up all of the past due bills that he has, it does result in the anomaly that you've got an owner of a house and a different owner for the attached garage. And that's just something they're going to have to work out themselves. And that's about as much as I can say on that. Whether one of them decides to buy the other one out or not, I don't know. But can I answer any questions you may have on either that property or any others, the other two that we have?
What's the amount that he owes the city?
About $4,100.
And do we have any type of commitment from him he's going to satisfy that debt?
Yes, we have confirmation from his attorney that he's received $15,000 to his trust account, and that would cover the $7,500 purchase price, as well as taking care of the $4,100 or so that he owes the city. The balance would be used to start his siding project, and then he apparently has as well a line of credit that would cover the remainder of the work that needs to be done. My recommendation is that if you are leaning towards awarding that bid, which obviously brings in a good sum of money to the city, that one of the conditions, one of the additional conditions besides working with Brian, is a fairly tight time frame to get the exterior work completed, as well as whatever this line of credit he has to complete the work before we would close on that property. We would have to have proof that there's an irrevocable letter of credit with the bank, that money won't disappear, and that's going to be there to fix that house up.
And if he doesn't do that, if he misses the stipulated timeline?
Then we would have language in the contract, basically that we revert back to the city one way or another.
Then we have to use the option.
Probably. It should not be that expensive to do that, no. His initial building permit would be for a period of 6 months, and that should be plenty of time for him to get the exterior fixed up. And in the past, with a lot of properties, that's our main concern. If you get the property sealed, so it's not open to animals or whatever else there may be, and is in a decent appearance, if it sits vacant for a while they do the work inside, that's fine. It's out of sight, out of mind, so to speak. But the main concern is getting that exterior finished so it's not a continuing blight on the neighborhood. Anything you want to add, Brian? I don't know if you've got...
Do we add the tax properties that we know about coming up that are delinquent from the same person?
That we can talk about later.
Okay.
Yeah, that would not be part of this discussion.
Okay, so this house from Mr. McFarland is the one he grew up in, so that's why he's putting such a good deal together. And it's a perfect opportunity for the city to get money that's owed. So I would say that that's the right way to go. At least to get paid from the back money, and then what happens moving forward, whether we get it again or Harold Hayes gets it, at least we'll get some money back, you know. That's my thought. Mm-hmm.
6 months would be for the exterior work. He's indicated it would take a bit longer to get the interior work completed.
Is it a lump sum payment? Not payments?
No, at closing, we would have a normal real estate closing for $7,500 purchase price, subject to the normal credits, and he's supposed to pay for the title insurance in addition to that. And then we would also take a portion of the funds at Mr. Tivett's account to bring all of his debts up to date and paid, not a repayment plan, but that $4,100 would be paid in full at the time of closing, plus anything else that may be due at that point too.
So his investments will be what, 11?
11,600 cash paid up front, and then he still has another $3,400 or so available to get his work started on deposit. Plus, again, in addition to that, there is apparently a line of credit to do the interior repairs. That I want in an irrevocable fashion so that that's going to get completed. Any other questions on that one? All right, those three will be on the agenda.
Not about the property we're just talking about, but when we had previously brought up Goose's, I think
Yes.
it's, great that he's going to get it. But we had talked about language in the actual contract to make sure that the landscape and the fence would be maintained to the quality in which we as a city intended for it.
Right.
Is that something that will also be
Yes.
included in the?
In fact, in his bid form, just read what his plans are. The plans are for the property to enhance our commercial property located at 304 South Main by providing outdoor dining and a location for outdoor socialization. Our goal is to ensure it's maintained, it's presentable, and something to the community and visitors that travel in downtown area. So we can build into that some restrictions in the deeds, to survive the deed, that he'll keep it maintained and so forth. Yes, it will. It'll be binding upon future owners. Yes, and that's the most visible of the properties, highly visible intersection down there, so we would include that as part of the closing. Any other questions on any of those three properties? So when I begin the third one, the motion would have to be either accept the bid of Mark McFarland or accept the bid of Harold Hayes, and then I can fill in the rest of it from there. That's all I have.
Thank you. City Clerk's report.
There's one item on the agenda this evening. It is the first reading due to the fact that we have one meeting in December and the tax levy to the county has to be at the county before the last Monday of the month or whatever. So we'll have first reading of this. This is something that you can think about, talk about, and we'll still have second reading in December. But after the finance meeting, we have put together a 0% increase on the tax levy for this year. We feel like that in order to, the police and fire pensions both have come in, one was a little lower, one was a little higher, which is totally unusual. They're both usually higher. So the Finance Committee tonight has recommended that we just go to a 0%. Don't have any increase in what we're requesting. We'll just try to make do with what we've got and move on from there. So, but you'll be able to think about this, talk to your constituents and whatever, and then we'll have the final second reading, the first meeting in December.
Okay, excellent. Committee reports tonight. Finance, IT, and Personnel, Alderman Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one item. It's a discuss approving revolving loan fund for TLS Realty LLC, the Little Stove.
And I'll take that. Mr. Smoljanic was not able to make it tonight, but has furnished all the information and said to stress very heavily, this loan meets all of our criteria, and he's very much in favor of proceeding with it. TLS Realty LLC, Limited Liability Company, owns the property where the Little Stove is located, and Andrew Duell and Liz Tracy are the owners of both the LLC and the business. They are requesting a $100,000 loan. That is slightly a bit more than what we have available, but they are willing to wait on the final $5,000 distribution until some funds come in. Ron indicates that between $3,000 and $4,000 come in per month. They said they could wait until several months into 2022 before they would necessarily need those funds. I think you are all aware of their operation down on the corner, the northeast corner of the plaza. It's a combination Italian restaurant. It's going to be kind of a cooking school, Italian shop. They've added a mezzanine. You're going to have rooms available for a bed and breakfast type of situation as well. We would have a second mortgage position. The property right now has about 20 to 40,000 equity above the first mortgage, and that's before the mezzanine work is completed. And that, under estimates, could add another $250,000 to the project from the way they're talking. So it should be well secured. It'll have the personal guarantees of Liz and Andrew, 2% interest rate. This does exhaust, within $2,000 or $3,000, the money available in the revolving loan fund. But Mr. Smoljanic, again, highly recommends this is a very good project to the very type of project we look to, and that those funds will be replenished over time. Assuming nobody makes any advance payments, it brings in $3,000 to $4,000 per month, so a little bit less than $50,000 a year. Can I answer any questions on that one? Now, this actually gets us to a point that we've discussed in the past, which is from time to time, there are new similar loan programs available through the state when they have funds available. Whenever we inquired about getting some of those funds, the response was, you really need to be loaned out to capacity in what you have in order to get any additional funds. At this point, we can take a look at getting some of those funds again and see if we can increase the amount that we've got by showing that we are fully loaned out. Any questions? Okay, that'll be on the agenda tonight as well.
Very good. Planning and Public Works, Alderman Scott.
We've got one item, and that's discuss TIF application. There was a TIF application submitted by Chase Bourne for the property at 219 South Main to replace the roof and do some work on the facade. The project cost is $145,000, and the committee has recommended $72,714 be approved for this project. Any questions? All right.
Very good. Any public comment at this time? Okay. Well, we'll adjourn the workshop session, and I would please ask for everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. convened. I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett,
Here.
Cook,
Here.
Hannett,
Here.
Odenettle. Ruben DeSellis. Scott,
Here.
Speed. Wankel,
Here.
Watts,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Mayor Izzard,
Here.
City Attorney Beard.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of October 25th and November 8th?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Alderman Aaron Scott, second by Alderman Williams. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Presentation of petitions
We have none,
and any communications?
no communications or
And no-
claims.
No claims, okay. We're zipping, okay. You ready again, Dan? City Attorney's report.
Thank you. The first item I have is a resolution accepting bid for the sale of property located at 922 North Clay property. This is the one you have to make a decision as to which of the two you are in favor of.
Alderman Wankel? Okay, is there stipulated in the workshop? Second by Alderman Aaron Scott.
Go ahead and read it then. Be it resolved that the bid from Mark McFarland amount of $7,500 for the purchase of 922 North Clay, subject to conditions that all amounts due to the city will be paid up to date at the time of closing, that there would be a irrevocable letter of credit to cover the balance of the work on the house, be included in the sale provisions.
You got any more discussion? Alderman Cook?
Question about what Brian was going to bring up, taxes.
Yes, why don't it's not taxes on this property. But there's an issue that we wanted to talk about and suggest we wait and do that under new business.
All right. Any further discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Hannett,
Yes.
Odenettle.
Yes.
Ruben DeSellis.
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Speed.
Yes.
Wankel,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Second item is a resolution approving the sale of real estate at 300 South Main Street.
Is there a motion? Alderman Scott, second by Alderman Hannett.
Be it resolved that the bid of J.D. Guzman LLC for the purchase of 300 South Main Street is hereby accepted, with the condition that they would maintain the property as discussed in the workshop session.
Any discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Cook,
Yes.
Hannett,
Yes.
Odenettle.
Yes.
Ruben DeSellis.
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Speed.
Yes.
Wankel,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great.
Third item is a resolution accepting bid for the sale of property located at 423 South Sandy Street.
Is there a motion for South Sandy and Randy Wright? Alderman Ruben DeSellis and Alderman Speed.
Be it resolved that the bid of Randy Wright for the purchase of property at 422 South Sandy Street is hereby accepted.
Any discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Hannett,
Yes.
Odenettle. Ruben DeSellis.
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Speed. Wankel,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Cook. Motion passes.
That's all I have, Lance.
Thank you. Any public comment at this time? Seeing none? I would ask, consent agenda, never mind. Finance, IT, and Personnel, Alderman Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have two items tonight. First is the city treasurer's report for October 31st, 2021. And the second one is a resolution approving a revolving loan fund, loan to TLS Realty LLC, the Little Stove.
Very good. Planning and Public Works, Alderman Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one item, resolution approving tax increment financing redevelopment plan and project grant agreement between the City of Jacksonville, Illinois and Chase Bourne for 219 South Main Street.
And Utility, Alderman Wankel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One item tonight, resolution authorizing payments from the Waterworks and Sewages Project Fund for services rendered improvement projects, and I so move.
Is there a second on the consent agenda? Alderman Large Old Nettle? Okay, is there any items under the consent agenda that you wish to pull for further discussion to committee? Seeing none, I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Old Nettle? Yes. Ruben DeSalis? Yes. Scott? Yes. Speed? Yes. Wankel?
Yes.
Watts?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Bartlett?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Committee reports tonight. Finance, IT, and Personnel, Alderman Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one item tonight. It's the first reading of an ordinance leveling taxes for 2021 at 0%. And I so move.
Thank you. Is there a second? Alderman Williams?
Be it ordained that for general corporate purposes and expense of the city of Jacksonville, public libraries, police pension fund, and fireman's pension fund, for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2021, and ending December 31, 2021, will be the same as last year, reflecting a 0% increase in the city's corporate revenue.
Any discussion? Okay, I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Ruben DeSalis?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Speed? Wankel?
Yes.
Watts?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Bartlett?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Old Nettle?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I hope, yeah, we might get some,
One happy constituent. in the
yeah,
whole place.
yeah, actually, we might get a few good phone calls for once, but hey. Yeah, and Brian, you don't get a raise next year. Okay. Okay, that's great. Any old business right now? Any we need to discuss? Any old business? Any new business?
Should that be executive session, you think, Dan?
No,
Come on up, Mr. Nyberg.
just general discussion of what you're looking at.
Yes.
Should we now say the name or just the properties?
Just the, yeah.
There's some properties coming up that are delinquent that are going on the tax sale. We talked about that before. The biggest one of concern to the city is Jefferson School. The city has a lien on it of 11,000, something close to 11,000 like that. I believe, is that first position, Dan?
Yes, that's the first mortgage position, an existing revolving loan fund loan from years back that we haven't actually, he's not received the payments for like 3 years.
And then there's also, I believe, 28,000 in liens from contractors from over the years. This is from previous owner of the building. I don't think when they sold it, they even recorded it. Do you know? So the decision is, do we stop it from happening because we have a lien on it? Do we let it go to the sale and purchase it prior to the sale, which we can do as long as the county commissioners will allow that, and they will, for $862? So if it goes to that point, all the liens are dropped. So which route to go?
That decision tonight, this is just to bring you up to speed on it. There's nothing on the agenda as far as an action item.
And it's not actually till June of next year, too.
So you've got plenty of time to think about it, but just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Did it get a new roof?
It's almost half done.
Okay.
We were hoping that it was gonna get done, but it's not done. And there's probably a lien on that, too. I don't know.
So it's really something to be thinking about, with some other problems like this. What would really
there's several of them too. I went and looked at several today. One of them is 1500 West Walnut, right next to the hospital, that former Modern Care nursing home. So I've already reached out to the hospital because it's a perfect fit. The hospital should own that, if that comes to it too. I don't know if that's something, if they don't, you know, do we step in for $862 to, and then, those are the big buildings that, you know, we really need to think about. The smaller houses and stuff, maybe not so much. But I saw a couple vacant lots. I'm gonna talk with Habitat for Humanity and see if we can maybe jump in with them and get those properties prior to the tax sale, so Habitat has a place to build for, you know, $1,700 for 2 lots. There's also 600 North Clay that is the convenience store, liquor store that's on that list too. However, that should be a 501c3, but I don't think they've ever registered that way. So that there shouldn't be real estate taxes on it.
So again, this is just to keep in mind, we'll be addressing this after the first of the year, to be much more detailed.
Was this, sorry to interrupt, the 600 North Clay, is that the one that just came to council not that long ago? Or is that a different address?
It's the old Hobby Horse.
Yeah, we haven't, okay.
There's a question as to why it's even on the tax rolls. It shows taxes have been paid for years, but recently, the ownership is in, supposedly, a 501c3 organization.
And the same with the Jefferson School building.
So there are some issues we have to take a look at. It's kind of murky area.
And then the same owner has another one on North Clay.
That basically, I think Brian can share.
Do you know, Brian, is this the first tax lien sale on the property, or has there been previous years?
So this is the 4th year cycle, so on the 4th year, it goes through to the tax sale. And then some of these that go through cycle after cycle, they'll go through the 4th year, they'll be sold for $862. Somebody will buy them from another state, you know, or somebody who has no money, they'll purchase them, then they'll give them back, say it's not what I thought it was. Then it goes through the 4-year cycle again. So that's why some of these, I think that we should try to stop that cycle, because that cycle keeps going, and then you see some roofs collapsing and the blight. So there's options. I mean, you can go through and stop it and pay for the taxes, you know, for the first 3 years, or wait till that 4th year when it goes to the tax trustee, and then it goes to the tax sale, which then we can intervene even before it goes to that tax sale as a municipality or with the land bank. So there's a lot of vacant, there's a lot of vacant properties. Some of them are just too small. I might try to see if we can talk to the owner of, you know, the adjacent property, see if they probably don't even know, because it could be a rented property next door. Say, hey, did you know that you could own this for $862? But the big ones are Jefferson. That's the big one, Jefferson School. And I wish it was totally roofed, but it's not. But there's time. I just wanted to point that out. Any questions?
Very good. Thanks, Brian. Any other new business? We'll adjourn this meeting, but before we will, a motion to go into exec session?
I had a new business item.
Oh, sorry, Colonel. Go ahead, Mike.
Just something to think about looking forward, and I know that Andy and I have talked about this and some other people in the community, but with the addition of all the electric cars and heading that direction, and I know I've had discussions with Brian about this as well. Our community doesn't have a charging station. Recently, I had a newly retired military personnel travel from the East Coast, come to Jacksonville, no charging station, want to know why we didn't. So, looking in the future, I know that's something that we probably should look at, so.
Yeah. A few years ago, there was a company that approached, and they were all gung-ho, and it fell apart. Now, I'll be sitting in a meeting next Wednesday with a group that has that same concern, Mike, and they want to partner with the city, and that would be the chamber and the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the county to kind of look. There's a working group that when we hosted the Jacksonville Main Street State meeting a few weeks back, that there were travelers from that conference that came down that were in electric cars, and they had to go over to Shields. So that brought to their attention, Lisa and Brittany and them, and they would like to kind of brainstorm and see how we can get that in Jacksonville. I think Shields does, yeah. It could be. I mean, I'm not saying the city has to pay it. Yeah, I'm not saying the city has to put money towards it, but maybe like, Convention and Visitors Bureau. I know, or Main Street or whoever. I mean, I know we're part of them, but I'll report back to the council on December 13th what was discussed. I mean, but yeah, it's coming real quick, so. Sure. Yeah. We have the locations, don't we, Brian?
Yep, Adam Fletcher actually reached out too.
Yeah.
And Friday, DCO just announced a lot of grant money specifically for electrical vehicles.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to get in that line to get some money. And some of those solar chargers, those stations are about $5,000 a piece, so it's not like it's a crazy amount of money. And with money being funded through the government, I think we gotta shoot for it.
Yes. Any other new business? Okay, I need a motion to go in exec session. Alderman Scott, second by Alderman Watts. We are going into exec session to talk regarding personnel and collective bargaining. Thank you for everybody for attending, and everybody have a very nice Thanksgiving.